Okay, so we're gonna do
a Q&A.
questions and answers.
Yes.
What do you want to start with first?
So,
Where were we?
yes, we were in the middle of our Q&A and we had to stop. Okay. How soon do you film it? I think this is more of a how soon do you edit and post videos after filming?
Well,
I think.
yeah, we film as we're doing it.
Yeah, so I mean, I film
She does.
almost every day, as long as we're working on a project that might be interesting. I get footage of it. And then editing, I'm about a month behind. We had some electricity issues, we had some Wi-Fi issues, we had computer issues, and so
Bottom line, she's catching up.
I'm playing catch up,
We hope to be able to put a video out probably once a week?
Once a week, yeah.
As we're actually working.
Yeah, that's the goal. So
catch up for a little while first.
Yeah. Okay, so what is the best and worst part of living out of a trailer? Specifically a camper trailer, because like mobile home trailers are bigger than what we have.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a 27-foot camper.
Correct.
So the best part is that we can be on the land. It allows us to be here working on our homestead without having a house built. What would you say is the best for you?
I think that it streamlines things, makes things simpler. It's just the two of us and the animals. And I dare say we've never been closer.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, we've actually grown even more together.
Yeah.
As a result of doing this.
Yeah.
It just simplifies things. You don't need a whole lot. The challenge, on the other hand, is keeping it clean and organized because there's so little space. You need to make sure and take the time to actually organize and put things away in the moment because it can become very overwhelming very quickly.
It's true, especially with pets. I think too, for me, probably the worst part about it is that it is a 1-bedroom camper. We don't have space for anyone to stay if they want to come visit. And I love having visitors, so not being able to have our family and close friends come and be able to put them up like we would if we had a bigger RV or if we had a house.
We have plans for that, but
yeah.
They're really more further back in like phase 2 or even phase 3.
Yeah. So other than that, once we had all the water running, the lights running, the sewage taken care of, it's no different than living in a really small apartment. It just happens to be a really small apartment on 80 acres of land. And I'm okay with that.
It's like New York. Very, very tiny shoebox apartment, and you have
the whole city.
Well,
13 miles of...
I was going to say Central Park is your backyard.
Or that, yeah. Okay. Can we have Max? No, Easton and Brady, you can't have Max.
Is that where that's from?
Yeah.
No.
No. He's ours, and he has some attachment issues when it comes to me, so he's not going anywhere. What is one thing you left in Utah that you wish you had remembered?
One thing.
One thing.
How much time have you got?
Our entire storage unit.
That's fair.
Does that count as one thing? It has all of our things are in there.
All of my extra tools, my compressor, my nail guns, all of our utensils, all of our cookware, all of our crockery.
Our pet supplies, so for grooming and training, and
My grill.
his grill. The grill is probably
That's a big
that's
one.
probably the like one thing that we really kind of lust after. But honestly, there have been so many times when we've needed a tool and we've had to go buy something because we don't have it here.
It's
It
really
didn't
frustrating.
Make it.
It's like, oh, I have like 3 of these in my toolbox in the shed.
Yeah.
That's okay. What's a 4th?
What kind of dog is Max?
You wanna take
Max.
this
Huh?
You want to take this
I'll
one? or
take
you want
this
me to?
one.
Okay.
So, Max is a designer breed.
Which translates to he's half show quality dog and sneaky neighbor's
Dog. Yeah.
stud. Yeah.
Yeah. So, half miniature schnauzer. His mother was a miniature schnauzer.
She was the show dog.
Yeah. His father was the neighbor's lab. So, it was not a planned breeding. It is not a designer breed. He is a mutt in that sense, but he is fantastic. And
But he was worth every penny.
He was. He was worth every penny. A lot of people think he's some kind of doodle.
Doodle, yeah. I get that a lot.
We get that a lot, but he's not. And so he's got the best traits and the worst traits of miniature schnauzers and labs, which makes for fun times.
Which means he barks at absolutely everything.
Yep.
But then as soon as something barks back, he's scared and comes and jumps into our laps.
Yeah. But he wants to be everybody's friend too.
Yeah. After barking at them first.
Yeah. So. Okay. What has surprised you the most? I'll go. I think what has surprised me the most is how much I actually love being here. We say this a lot on social media and just talking to family and friends, but we are really happy here. And I knew this was going to be a healthy move for us. I didn't know how healthy mentally and physically it was going to be, how healthy for our relationship, how healthy just for our mindset. I think that surprised me that I'm happier here living in a 27-foot camper than I was with, the 3-story house in a neighborhood close to everything. We have less and yet we have more. Yeah. What about you?
I think I've been most surprised at how gratifying I find the problems that we've chosen.
Yeah.
It's weird because, in the rat race, you feel like, you do everything you can to get ahead, and then you end up it's like swimming or trying to swim in quicksand. But out here, we take on the challenges that are important to us.
Yeah.
We have, it's not without its trials, but even those don't seem nearly as big because you simply take the problem, you break it down to its basic components, and you solve it one way or another.
Yeah.
And that is incredibly rewarding.
Yeah. What are the hardest things you've faced?
Volcano. Wait, can I say a poop volcano?
Yeah, I was
Sorry.
actually thinking that too. So we living in an RV.
Wait, can I tell this one?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, I was going to explain how we got to that point.
I'll do
Okay.
that.
All
Okay.
right. So
So
it was traumatizing.
this
Can I
is
just
a
say
little
that?
gross. So spoiler alert: if you want to skip this part, we'll put a note where to skip ahead to. But yeah. So gross alert. We'll flash that up on the screen.
Okay.
In a camper, you have new and very interesting systems for disposing of waste. You have a gray water tank and you have a black water tank. Gray water is usually what comes out of the sink and out of the shower drain or out of the sink drain of the bathroom. That's water that is presumably used or, it has other things in it like soap or, just gunk, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not dangerous.
Right. It's not
basically.
drinkable, really.
It's not
but
drinkable, of course.
but
You
it's not
can
bad.
use it on your trees and on your bushes and stuff like that. Probably not on food plants,
Right.
but you can use it still. Black water, on the other hand, is where you have your bodily waste. And the problem with not having standard infrastructure with running water and septic or sewage drains and things like that go out to a major processing plant, what happens is the RV itself actually has a big tank that stores everything that you don't want. And the theory is that it will basically build up with enough water that when you go to hook it up to a drain, it all drains out. That assumes that you have more liquid water or more liquid waste than you have solid waste. In cases where you're just getting to your land and don't have a reliable source of water yet,
And you're trying to
conserve water,
Yeah.
that means that there's a lot less water going into the tank. That means there's a lot less liquid going into the tank, and so the mixtures are off. Problem with that is, and this is the gross part, if you can imagine a big tank like this, what happens is solid waste sinks to the bottom and starts to pile up in what's called a pyramid plug. Now the problem with this is that the drain to get this stuff out of your tank is all the way at the bottom on one side. So if your pyramid plug builds up enough, it'll actually block that tube and prevent you from being able to send anything out of the black water discharge.
Right.
So whether you have water later or not, it doesn't matter. You're still stuck.
Yeah. You got to get the plug taken care of.
So there are a couple of ways to do this. Most RVs these days actually have what's called a backflush system, where you connect up a hose with pressure on it. You flow water through that same outflow to basically wash the inside of your tank and let it just run out of the drain. Ours is old enough that we don't have that.
Yeah.
Plus, this is something that we've never run into before,
We've never lived in a camper before this. We didn't know
Yeah.
that this was even an issue that could arise.
So after a number of different attempts with chemicals and with
We found
jet water, and
we found that attachment that basically does the
Yeah.
reverse flush, but
so there's an attachment piece that basically is, it really shouldn't be clear, but it is clear plastic so that you can see the result of your efforts.
yeah, which is important but gross.
But it basically hitches onto the outside of your black water drain and then has two connections, one for the major sewage hose and then one for a small garden hose where you can flow water in. Well, we
blasted it. You blasted it overnight.
blasted it
we let
overnight.
it sit.
Yep.
I tried to get things moving in the morning. It didn't
No,
work.
this is my turn.
No, but I have to explain how we got there.
No, I understand.
Okay.
I understand.
Okay.
I was the victim in this
He
circumstance.
was the victim, but yes. Basically, I'm an idiot.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
You didn't know.
I didn't
We
know.
couldn't have known. Bottom line is, we tried a number of things. We got frustrated. We left it connected, but we turned off the water for the night. Sarah in the morning got up and went out and tried to make another valiant effort to use the black backflow valve, but forgot to turn off the water pressure on the backflow hose. Well, there's only one toilet in our camper, and so what basically happened is different to normal flush toilets. You generally have like a U-bend. Ours, on the other hand, actually has a flapper valve that slides open one direction and then closed when you're done using it. What you don't realize, though, is that when city water is connected up to your camper, particularly the backflow valve, you've got 60 psi of pressure basically backfilling that black tank. So when I woke up late and went in to use the bathroom, the pedal, it's a foot flush, so the pedal to open this flapper valve and basically flush the toilet was stuck. So I thought, in my delirious, sleep-addled state, well, it's probably just stuck. I'll have to just stomp on it. So I did. which was then met with 60 psi of human waste exploding in a volcano. I happened to be standing right at the edge of the toilet, and I literally left a human-sized imprint on the shower behind me where the waste didn't splatter because it had splattered all over me.
And into the hall.
Into the hall, onto the roof, all through, everything that we were storing on the shelves, all over the medicine cabinet. It was pretty horrifying.
Yeah.
So that's when I learned to appreciate the glory of outdoor cold showers.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
Yeah, because we had to clean you up first, and then we cleaned up the bathroom.
We cleaned up the bathroom and our vomit that we ended up throwing up on top of the waste.
It's gross. We had to get the animals out because we didn't want them it was a mess.
It was awful.
It was a really crappy day.
I used that joke on our friends
and they
later that
didn't
night,
understand.
and they didn't understand it until I had told them the full scope of what had happened.
Well, we got the plug taken care of.
Yep. And it hasn't been an issue since.
Nope. So yeah. So, what are the best things you have experienced?
Ooh, community.
Yeah.
We came out here with no friends, no connections, no contacts. We met several people when we went and got our post office box, and when we met a couple of people at the RV park where we first stayed when we first got here.
But nobody who was going to be out here.
Nobody out here, none of our neighbors, anything like that. But through a series of very, very lucky circumstances, we met a series of absolutely extraordinary people.
Yeah.
Salt of the earth. Everybody different, everybody from a different walk of life, but we're all bonded in this experience of trying to homestead.
Not trying, we are.
Excuse me, you're right.
We are all homesteading. We're just at different...
Yeah, we're different stages.
Yeah, so they're further along than we are.
Yeah.
But that's been really valuable for us, too.
Yeah, they help us to avoid some of the pitfalls.
Yeah.
You've seen Mike and Aaron in some of our previous videos. We met them because we needed to have land cleared.
Yep.
And they ended up becoming some of our closest friends out here.
Yep.
And introduced us to their whole community. We met people through the farmers market. We met people at the local, dive bar. We met people at restaurants.
The restaurant in town.
Yep.
Well, there's more than one in town, but
several, yeah.
Our favorite in town.
Yeah.
It's just been surprising and delightful.
Yeah.
So, I think Chloe is probably another best thing that's come out of this experience, because I don't think we would have gotten another dog.
Nope.
Out here if we hadn't come out here.
Nope.
But as much trouble as she is, she's also a source of happiness most of the time.
I would even go so far as to say joy.
Joy, yeah.
Chloe Joy?
Chloe Joy? Chloe Grace.
No.
What?
I don't know.
Okay.
Chloe Grace Joy. Jensen.
Yeah. What are your successes?
I have a tan. Yep.
He does, yeah. You had some physical successes.
I've been getting stronger. I've
Yep.
been losing weight. I had a nice leather belt that was strong enough to hold a holster. That probably I needed to put maybe 1 or 2 holes into it before we got here. I just punched my 6th the other day.
Yep.
So that gives you an indication of how much work it is. And you know what? I hope to continue that.
Yeah. I think, we're at the cusp of having the Holy Trinity done. That is a huge success.
Yeah, when we say the Holy Trinity, we mean water, reliable source of constant water, and water pressure.
Yes.
Electricity, a reliable source of electricity.
Yep.
And sewage.
Yep.
Basically, those are the big 3 that allow modern life.
Yeah.
Beyond that, there are some other creature comforts and things like that, but those are the big 3.
Yep. So once we get these solar panels finalized.
They're
yeah,
up. We
they're
just need to
up.
wire
We
them
just
in.
have to. We're waiting on a part. That's it.
Yep.
So.
Our combiner box arrives this afternoon, so we'll see.
So yeah, I want to say that's probably. I think that's our biggest success. Maybe. Maybe.
Maybe.
Successes in different areas.
There are all kinds of successes, though, and we certainly take time to celebrate those.
We
now.
do.
You know what? Maybe that is a success.
Yeah.
We actually take time to
We celebrate more often.
little victories. It's something I used to say when I was working in the corporate world. Always celebrate your little victories.
Mm-hmm. So even something as simple as buying our gates.
Yeah, it's a lot more meaningful
Yeah.
now because you actually do take time to celebrate the little victories as they come.
So, being able to watch TV at night with the generator off, that was like a huge success. Running water, huge success.
Sitting in front of the fire with a warm
yeah.
coat last night, that was a success.
It was, so there's lots of little ones, and we definitely appreciate them more now, which is, I don't know, it's good.
I can hear Lucy whining in the background.
Yeah. What failures have you encountered?
All of them.
And losing a cat.
That one hurt.
Yeah.
Not building things to square.
Yeah.
That's been a failure. It's been a great learning experience. So I know what not to do next time, but...
The poop volcano that I inadvertently caused, that was a failure on my part.
Well, it's all in how you look at it, though. You can look at a failure as something that you did wrong, or you can look at it as a lesson.
Yeah.
So...
They've all been really great lessons.
Yeah, I don't know who said it, but somebody more famous and more smarter than I said, I don't fail. I either succeed or I learn. And as long as you take the moment to learn from things that don't go according to plan, that's an initial setback that turns into a win in the long run, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So we've had what people would consider failures, what I would consider at times failures, but you're right, they've been lessons learned that have led to further success. So, knowing what you know now, would you do this again?
Absolutely.
Yeah, in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. It's funny, my dad was telling us that his biggest fear for us was that we'd get tired of it.
That we get bored.
We'd get bored. We'd be over it, and then we'd be stuck, out here. And
that may happen.
It may happen, but we're not there.
We may need a 2.5-week cruise around the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
But for the time being,
we would do it again, hands down, no question.
Yep.
Okay, these are kind of all similar, but what has been the biggest setback or challenge so far that you didn't expect?
How long everything takes. Actually, you know what? I would also say how expensive everything is.
Yeah, we knew that homesteading was not going to be cheap. We planned for that.
Yeah.
But then life kind of comes in and makes things more expensive.
Well, not just that, but out in this area, Apache County is, statistically speaking, the poorest county in the entire state of Arizona.
Yeah.
It's actually in like the bottom 10% of the entire country. So, as a result, I don't know if that's a direct result, but I mean, there's a mixture of higher costs, there's a mixture of people who take advantage of others, and there's just people doing the best they can to get by, but those that are trying to be successful end up basically raising the prices of needed commodities by about 50 to 150%.
Yeah.
So, like a flatbed trailer in Utah, you could find one of those, a 16-footer for maybe $1,500 to $2,000. Out here, $5,000 minimum for a dual axle.
Yeah. And, the supply is limited, but the demand is greater out here because people do live, out on these little homesteads where they need the ability to haul things. And so when you've got a lot of people who need the same things and are trying to get it used, the used prices shoot up. So
Well, not only that, of course, but the difficulty with COVID and with the supply chain and with foreign relations and so on
yeah,
has further complicated things dramatically. When we first moved out here, we planned on getting several 40-foot high box shipping containers that would be the basis for getting started out here. At the time when we were planning this, they were anywhere from, say, $1,500 to $2,500 a piece.
yep,
Right now, they're on sale for $11,000
yeah,
because of such a dramatic shortage of these things.
yep,
So I mean, you have these people who have had these high box containers for decades that are all of a sudden popping up and they're selling these, you know.
yeah. They're making a
But
killing.
you know what? It's supply and demand. It's
Exactly.
capitalism. I can't argue against that.
Nope. So we've had to shift how we're doing some things. We were originally going to use those for storage. We're going to have to build a storage shed now. We were going to use that to build a shop. And we're going to have to redo our plans for that. So nothing impossible, but it's just kind of, it shifted things for us. And yeah.
Well, you know what they say, men plan and God laughs.
Yep. Why does Bear wear Norse iconography?
Oh, this? I'm not a particularly religious person, but I do find ancient myth to be fascinating, from all the different pantheons, from Greek and Roman to Norse to Egyptian and so on. This, on the other hand, though, is a little bit different for me. This actually isn't about the Norse pantheon of gods. It's actually about ancestry. So I discovered in my parents and my uncle in particular are really, really big into genealogy, and picking up the thread from where they've done quite a lot of research, I was able to find that my ancestry actually ties back through the UK, particularly Scotland. In fact, Robert the Bruce, a Braveheart, the 14th Earl of Stewart or something. Anyway, the famous dude, yeah. He's my 29th great grandfather. But what's even more interesting is so that was in the 13 and 1400s. But if you go back even further than that to the 9th and 10th centuries, apparently I have ancestry that came over with one of the sailings of Ragnar Lothbrok, who was one of the first Vikings to colonize the UK. So Vikings and Danes, the Danish Empire, vector into my ancestry. So this is kind of a homage to them.
Yep. I'm a Wallace, by the way. That has nothing to do with the question, but I have cool Scottish ancestry too.
That is true. She has a great tartan.
Yep. You'll see it every time you go buy Scotch tape. That's our tartan.